Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Warming up all week long. We're going to show you what's behind this warm up that takes us into the 80s. And I'll show you how things are trending as we get closer to Easter Sunday coming up.
And recovery moves forward. The Raleigh Convention Center is entering a new phase after that massive fire. What's happening now and how it could impact your drive this week. Plus, bills going up. Tonight, customers will get a chance to speak out on rising power costs, what's being proposed, and how it could impact your monthly bill. We have a lot of news to get to here on your Monday morning. Happy to help you get caught up. I'm Laura Levine in for Renee Chu. Let's get right over to meteorologist Chris Michaels with a look at the forecast. Chris, cold for now, but we're warming up this week again.
Yeah, and even this morning is much warmer than it was yesterday when a lot of you were starting out in the 20s and 30s. Currently about 10 to 20 degrees higher as you step out the door. It'll feel nice as you're getting some early morning exercise going on. By 7 o'clock, temperatures near 50 degrees. By 9 o'clock, we're in the mid 50s, and the warm up continues from there. All thanks to a little shift in the wind direction coming in out of the south and southwest today. That'll be enough to push us to about 75 degrees. In the triangle yesterday, we hit 66, so that warming trend will continue. I know a lot of us on spring break, maybe if you're staying at home with the kids, the green light for several days this week as far as being outside, but there are some shower and storm chances. I'll show you the latest trends with those and how that could play a role on Easter Sunday coming up in a few minutes.
Chris, thank you. Now to breaking news this morning. A man is in the hospital after Raleigh police say he was stabbed. The stabbing happened around 11:30 last night on Idlewild Avenue. The WRAL breaking news tracker saw police blocking off that road as they investigated. Raleigh police tell us the man was stabbed in the stomach. He was taken to the hospital and is expected to be okay. Officers say the stabbing started as a domestic dispute and a man is in custody. We're working to learn who that suspect is and if they're facing any charges. More breaking news to get to now this morning. Moore County deputies are investigating after 2 people were shot and killed last night. The sheriff's office says the shooting happened around 9 p.m. on Gaines Street. That's just off of NC Highway 5 between Aberdeen and Pinehurst. The WRAL breaking news tracker saw canines and officers searching that area. No word yet on any suspects or what may have led up to this shooting. Tonight, customers will get a chance to weigh in on rising power bills. The North Carolina Utilities Commission is holding a public hearing on a proposed rate increase from Duke Energy. WRAL's Liz McLaughlin is live now from downtown Raleigh with a look at more of what people should know. Liz, good morning.
Good morning. Growing frustration with ratepayers across the state already thinking their bills are too high and now set to grow even more. Since 2020, power bills, the rate has gone up 22%. Now Duke is proposing an 18% increase for residential customers over the next 2 years. That could translate to roughly $20 to $30 more a month. Duke posted record profit last year, 13% higher than the year before. So that's another point that's really hurting with ratepayers right now. We see a petition going around, more than 70,000 signatures asking for an audit of Duke's fees. Now, this is for the base rate on your electric bill, so a little different than other fees you might see, such as fuel riders.
The rate request that is currently before the Utilities Commission is for what we call our base rates. And those base rates are literally the cost it takes for us to build an electric system, maintain it, and deliver power to your home. So think poles and wires, power plants, grid improvements that we make across the system.
And Duke Energy says that those upgrades are needed because of residential growth and also industrial growth in the state. That's the main driver for their load increase, such as data centers. The Utilities Commission will ultimately decide if what they're asking for is just and feasible. The public will have a chance to weigh in tonight at 7 p.m. in person downtown Raleigh. And then there's also a virtual hearing tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Live in Raleigh, I'm Liz McLaughlin, WRAL News.
Liz, thank you. And happening today, city leaders in Rocky Mount will be talking about a proposed utility rate hike that is getting some pushback from residents. People were gathered to speak out against this proposal last week at City Hall. If approved, the rate hikes could be as high as 15% for some utilities. This comes as city leaders discuss ways to dig itself out of a financial crisis. Today's public hearing will be at Rocky Mount City Hall at 10 a.m. New this week, the Raleigh Convention Center is entering the next phase of recovery after a massive fire damaged the roof almost 4 months ago. New equipment will be loaded onto the roof to be installed. WRAL's Kirsten Clark joins us now live from the Convention Center this morning. And Kirsten, there are some closures that drivers should be aware of this week.
Yes, Laura, we're on the McDowell Street side of the convention center, and this is where those lane closures will be to make room for a crane to load 2 new permanent air coolers onto the roof of the convention center. Now let's take a wider map view of what that will look like. You can see the back of the convention center bordering South McDowell Street. Lanes will be closed starting on April 1st for at least a week. City officials tell us 1 to possibly 2 lanes will be closed for a few hours in the middle of the day. Now this comes after that fire tore through the convention center's roof in December. Since then, temporary air handlers have been in use while events resume to keep the building cool. Now, Carrie Painter with the Raleigh's Convention Center Authority says the timing for this next step couldn't be better.
We didn't have any clients in the building at that moment. It's also right around March break and Easter. And so we recognize there'll be less cars on the street. So it's a more convenient time for most people coming down to work. It also doesn't close during rush hours.
Yeah, so also as part of this next phase of work, in addition to these air coolers, a permanent kitchen will also be installed so that the convention center will no longer have to use the temporary kitchen that's been in place since January. So a lot of big things happening for this next phase of recovery for the convention center. Live in Raleigh, Kirsten Clark, WRAL News.
This morning, a statewide burn ban is in effect. The North Carolina Forest Service issued the ban because of dry conditions and a wildfire risk around the state. In Hope County, a more than 20-acre wildfire has now been contained. This started around noon yesterday off of NC Highway 211. That's east of Aberdeen. The Aberdeen fire chief tells WRAL that a malfunction with an ATV caused a fire that quickly spread due to the high wind and dry conditions.
With the fire conditions the way they were, with the winds the way they were, the humidity the way it was, and everything else, the fire was just very, very uncontrollable. It would calm down for a minute, then the wind changed direction to push you right on it.
The chief also said much of the fire was also hard to reach because of a railroad and swamp. They had to bring a bulldozer in to access the spots. The statewide burn ban will remain in effect indefinitely until conditions improve. All right, well, the Triangle has no more teams left in the men's NCAA tournament. The top-seeded Duke Blue Devils got knocked out of the tournament by UConn in the Elite Eight last night. It was a tough finish. UConn stunned the Blue Devils with a last-second three-pointer. Duke led by as many as 19 points in the first half. The Huskies advanced to the Final Four with a final score of 73-72. Duke star Cameron Boozer was holding back tears in his post-game interview.
Well, I mean, it's been an incredible year. Not just my brother, but this whole team, man. It's a special group of people. I'm just so grateful that I was blessed for this opportunity. All the players, all the coaches, man. I love these guys. Yeah.
Just so hard. Okay, so Coach John Shire was almost speechless as well, talking after the game. He said that he's never seen anything like his players' dedication to the game. On our WRAL YouTube page now, you can find more reaction from the team and Coach John Shire, as well as an in-depth breakdown of the game from Pat Welter, Chris Lee, and Brian Murphy. Just head to the WRAL YouTube page and search Duke. In the women's NCAA tournament now, the Blue Devils fell to top seed UCLA. Duke dominated the first half and led by as many as 10 points in the second quarter. The Bruins started fighting back and eventually turned the tide in their favor, defeating the Blue Devils 70-58 to advance to the Final Four. First on WRAL now, UNC has suspended discussions about the future of the Dean Smith Center until the Tar Heels hire their next men's basketball coach. They also want to wait until the next new coach has had time to develop their program. That potentially pushes any decision on a basketball arena decision into the future. UNC fired Hubert Davis last week, days after the Tar Heels were eliminated from the NCAA tournament in the first round for the second straight season. Carolina is targeting some of the biggest names in the sport to replace Davis. The school's vice chancellor for communications told WRAL it doesn't want the arena debate hanging over the search for the new coach. And as we know, UNC is not the only Triangle school looking for a new head coach now. NC State may be getting closer to naming Will Wade's replacement already. St. Louis University coach Josh Schertz and Furman University coach Bob Ritchie both pulled their names out of the running. Now, Tennessee associate head coach and former Wolfpack player Justin Gainey is the front runner for the job. Gainey could possibly be named the new coach as soon as today. He declined a request to comment about the position. So now is a great time to take out your phone and download the WRAL News app. Be sure to turn on your push notifications so you can know the second we know UNC or NC State names their new men's basketball head coach. Now to new developments this morning on the conflict in the Middle East. President Trump said he's considering seizing Iran's Karg Island, which is a crucial oil hub. At the same time, the president says diplomatic talks with Iran are going, quote, extremely well. Tehran insists it is not in any talks with Washington. It warned it is ready and waiting for a ground invasion as thousands more U.S. troops arrive in the region. Also, oil is up to $116 a barrel, up nearly 60% from the start of the war just over a month ago. President Trump said Iran agreed to allow 20 more tankers through the Strait of Hormuz, but it remains mostly blocked. As for the war's effect on gas right now that we're seeing here in the Triangle, in Raleigh, you'll pay an average of $3.80. In Fayetteville, you'll pay more 10 cents less at $3.67 a gallon. And in Durham, you'll pay the most, which is $3.83 a gallon. Fuel prices are not the only thing on the rise. Farmers in particular are seeing a strain on fertilizer costs and supply. Farmers are seeing as high as a 40% increase in fertilizer cost. A local farmer says he expects to pay more money to grow this year.
There's nothing I can do about it. I don't control world politics. It's beyond our control. We just have to pay if we want to produce.
The American Farm Bureau Federation says U.S. companies import about 18% of the nitrogen fertilizer sold here. Closing the Strait of Hormuz has cut off almost half of the world's exports of key compounds of fertilizer. Now to more news this morning. A woman was hurt in a shooting at a Raleigh apartment complex. This happened on South Walnut Creek Parkway near Lake Dam Road. The WRAL breaking news tracker arrived just after 1 yesterday morning as officers were investigating. Police say they found a woman who had been shot in the arm. She was treated for her injuries and is expected to be okay. Police are still looking for a suspect. Your time now, 4:42. Tensions rising after a dramatic removal at the legislature last week. That same committee is meeting again. What's behind the heated debate?
And things warming up here in the weather centers. We're looking at temperatures nearing the 80s this week. We'll show you what's behind that warm up. And of course, looking ahead to Easter Sunday, some of the newest trends in the model data and when we can expect showers and storms. All that coming your way in less than 10 minutes.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
Time now, 4:46. The pollen is back with a vengeance. It took a little bit of a backseat this weekend, but as we start to warm up, the tree pollen is going to reach some high levels once again. That's something that we expect, especially heading into the month of April. You see that bell curve there showing the peak is usually in early to mid-April in terms of the tree pollen. Now, we do need the rain to get rid of that. We also need the rain to get rid of the drought. 2/3 of North Carolina, according to the official drought monitor, under a severe drought. Thing is, our storm chances mid to late week are actually dropping a little bit. They're still there, a little isolated. I'm going to show you what's behind the reduced chances and see if there's any change between now and Easter Sunday. That's coming up in just a couple minutes.
Okay, Chris, thank you. Part of I-95 North in Harnett County is back open after a tractor-trailer crash shut it down for roughly 10 hours. You're looking at video of crews cleaning up that debris. The crash happened around 2:15 yesterday morning on I-95 North near the exits for Dunn and Jonesboro Road. We were told that the 18-wheeler hit a Jersey barrier in a construction zone and caught fire. It was the only vehicle involved in the crash. The driver had minor injuries. A dramatic scene last week at the North Carolina legislature. Security had to eject a former state lawmaker from a committee hearing. And that same committee is meeting again this week. The agenda is focused on reforming the state bar. That's the group tasked with disciplining lawyers who do wrong by their clients. Last week's hearing focused on a political power grab at the bar that supporters say will increase accountability. More details about these disputes online at WRAL.com. A public meeting is happening tonight in Durham County. The Budget Department is hosting an interactive session. You'll hear directly from county leaders about operations and spending priorities. It runs from 7 to 8:30 tonight at the Durham County Administration Building. New today in Rocky Mount now, a license plate agency is opening. The new office on Tiffany Boulevard will handle things like registrations, title work, and renewals. These offices are run by local partners but overseen by the state DMV. A heads up now for drivers in downtown Raleigh. South Person Street is closed starting today. The 300 to 800 blocks will be shut down weekdays from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. through May 29th. It's part of a city water project. Detours are in place and local access is limited. Spring sports are now in full swing, and if your little one is playing for the first time, it's important to make sure that you're teaching them about sportsmanship too. Cleveland Clinic says the earlier you can teach your kids about sportsmanship, the better. That way, those values become second nature to them. So what are some examples of sportsmanship? It's little things like being a team player, shaking hands after the game, not arguing with the referee, and keeping a positive attitude. Yeah, we know a lot of those kiddos are out playing right now. Chris, it's just that time of the year, and the weather is finally warming up as soon as we can get to a more consistent cycle here.
And it looks like this week, at least, will be fairly consistent and consistently warm. I know a lot of us on spring break and spending some time outside. A lot of that warmth has to do with a breeze out of the southwest. Currently, temperatures in the low 50s. It's about where we'll be for the next few hours. But by 11 o'clock in the morning, already getting close to yesterday's high temperature. So we'll continue to warm things up throughout the rest of the day today. 73 to 77. That's your forecast high with Raleigh, Durham, Lewisburg, Rocky Mount, Goldsboro, Sanford, Southern Pines, and Clinton, all at about 75 degrees with a little bit of a mix of clouds and sun. As we head into Tuesday, we'll see an increase in the wind, still coming in out of the southwest, but it'll be a little gusty at times into the afternoon, and that's going to keep things even warmer. By tomorrow afternoon, that's when we start to see our high temperatures in the low 80s and setting the stage for a really nice evening at the Durham Bulls Athletic Park. It's going to be the Bulls' home opener tomorrow with a first pitch temperature in the mid 70s. So there's that southwest breeze keeping us warm. Heading into Wednesday, we'll see highs in the mid 80s. And one thing we're noticing with this frontal system is that it continues to trend slower and farther to the west. It leads to a reduction in storm chances. It'll just be pretty isolated really through the end of the week. If you check our weather app, you notice that from Wednesday through Friday, I put us at about a 20 to 40% chance. But as that front gets closer, Easter Sunday may result in a few more showers and storms later in the day, but staying warm with highs in the low 80s. So as we continue to look ahead to the holiday weekend forecast, you can do the same at any point in time with the free WRAL weather app. All right, let's take you through the next 7 days. Final days of March here are going to be nice and warm for you. Today we're in the mid 70s. It's about the coolest we'll be all week. Check it out. High temperatures 81 to 85. Nighttime lows 62 to 64. And again, storm chances, they're fairly hit and miss. We'll give you an updated look at rain totals coming up in just a little bit. Laura?
Chris, thank you. And coming up here on WRAL News, egg hunt frenzy. Children in Cary were racing to grab eggs ahead of Easter. The fun on the field up next. And you're taking a live look this morning at Pittsburgh.